Good afternoon. Woke everybody up at night. How many of you brought a whole bunch of money with you today? I'm gonna take it away. We're gonna go through the rules and regulations of the sale before we conduct it so that everybody understands it, and then they can't say, he didn't tell us that, because we're gonna tell it to you right now. You have to have a valid photo ID in order to bid today. You're gonna be using one of those yellow bid cards when you bid. If you notice somebody later on bidding with a blue bid card, that doesn't mean that they're get some kind of special discount or something. It means they got here late and they might have missed the rules and regulations part. So everybody in the room right now has a yellow bid card. When you bid today, you're accepting the rules of sale that are listed in the book. Make sure you understand them. Take a moment to read them. If you're waiting for your property to come up, we're going to go through the most important ones before the sale so that everybody understands them. These parcels have been through a judicial foreclosure process. There is an order of the circuit court in the county where the property is located that clears title to these properties and vests it in the name of the county treasurer. The people cannot show up, pay the taxes, and get it back. That ship sailed a long time ago. We've gone and seen the judge. We asked for everything you see listed on the screen to be cleared from title, and they have entered a court order stating that deeds, mortgages, land contracts, construction liens, tax liens, any liens or judgments against the former owners, unrecorded interests of all kinds, water bills, utility bills, everything of that nature is void. They're gone. They're wiped away. Order of the court on file. Everybody that had an interest in these lands had until April the 2nd to pay. If they didn't, they lost those rights. Some things are not canceled by a tax foreclosure. If you buy a piece of property today and it is subject to an easement, that easement is still there. If there are power lines overhead, if somebody has the right to drive over part of the property to get to their property, those rights are still there. If the mineral rights have been retained by a former owner or sold off to a third party in the past, they are still severed or split. These are still subject to zoning, local ordinance, and building codes. We've got one today that has a DEQ, a Michigan Department of Environmental Quality lien against it. That lien also survives the tax foreclosure. We don't have any cropland. I'm not going to dwell on that one. Please know what you're bidding on. Everything today is sold as is, where is, with all of its faults and defects, whether known or unknown to us or to you or to anybody else. What you're buying today is listed in the book that you've got in your hands, beginning at the portion where it says legal description and ending at the word comments. What you're buying is the land described right there. You're not buying a photograph. You're not buying a picture. You're not buying what somebody told you is on the property. You're buying the legal description of land listed in your book. There are no refunds. Please be certain of what you're buying. Here's an example for you. That picture on the screen right there, that's Lake Superior. Do any of you know where Grand Marais is? That's a waterfront lot on Grand Marais. We were up there last week. We had that waterfront lot, there it is right there, for sale for $1,800. 100 feet of waterfront on Lake Superior. You know how many people bid on that? None.
You're kidding me.
Because they did their homework. And if you don't do yours, you could end up with one just like this. That's the lot. It's real pretty till you get right up to the edge. It goes straight down to about 100 feet. And if you look at the picture on the left, that's the boundaries of that lot. Most of it is underneath Lake Superior. There's not enough room on the top of that thing to set up a chair without going over the side. If you didn't pay attention to what you're bidding on today, you could buy one of those too. These properties can have lots of problems, and many of them do. Lead-based paint, asbestos, bad foundations, leaking roofs, frozen plumbing, you name it, we've got it today, no extra charge. That picture right there, that's a piece of property in Ontonagon County. That's got every problem on that list. I've been selling these things for 18 years. I've never seen another one that had every problem on that list. And I've sold it 3 times now because people aren't paying attention and they buy something without doing their homework. We were up there last week, like I said, and we didn't sell that one this year. Somebody got it a year or two ago. We haven't got it back yet, but we will. I'll sell it again. But we did sell this one. It's right up the street. We probably have a couple like that in the sale today too. Make sure that you know what you're bidding on. There are no refunds. This ain't Walmart. You can't buy it, wear it to the dance, and bring it back next Saturday. It doesn't work like that. When you buy it, it's yours. When we sell, everybody's got a copy of the book. We're going to sell them in the order they're listed in the book, but we're going to move the real popular pieces to the front of the sale. I've got 3 or 4 pieces in this book that I've got like 20 bidders here for. We're going to sell those first to get you guys out of the room so that it's cooler in here. Unless everybody wants to just hold their breath. But we're going to sell the most popular pieces first, then we're going to go back through the book. We're going to sell them in the order that they're listed. I do have a few, not many. I think I've got maybe 4 or 5 pieces in this book that are not going to sell today. We're going to skip those if nobody's here to bid on them. I'm not even going to bother opening them up. I've got a few pieces in the book that nobody in this room said that they wanted, but I have some people online that have expressed interest. We're going to skip over those too after I make sure that you don't want them. So that's how we're going to sell today. Here's the mechanics of how we sell. We're going to open every piece of property up at that minimum bid that you see listed in the book. The state law says we can't sell anything for less than that amount today. We're going to open up at that minimum bid unless I already have a higher bid online. I've already got 64 bids on property today that we took online before the sale even started. That bidding closed at 11 o'clock. They were able to put bids in. We're going to open at either the minimum bid listed in that book or a higher bid if I already have one online. I know I've got one piece of property in here that I've already got 11 bids on one piece, and it's up there. Once we open the bidding at either the minimum bid or a higher bid online, if I've got one, the bidding then increases by the amount you see on the screen. The people online have to do this, so do you. Until we get to $1,000, the minimum bid increase in round numbers is $50. $350, $400, $450, $500. No odd numbers, no random numbers, no lucky numbers, no combinations of birthdays, no dollar bids. The minimum bid increase is a $50 increase. Between 1,000 and 10,000, it goes up at least $100 at a time. Over 10,000, the minimum bid increase is $250. The people online can only raise their bid one increment at a time. That's as to the live bidders. We have advanced bids that we've already received. If somebody put in, let's say that I've got 2 bidders online, and one guy bid $500 and the other guy bid $5,000. That sale would open up online at $550, and then they can go up $50 at a time until we hit that $5,000 mark from the one bidder that has the $5,000 advance bid. They can only go up $50 at a time. You guys can do something called jumping the bid. You can volunteer to do this. I may ask if somebody wants to do this. It's basically just a way to get us there quicker. I've got a piece of property in the book today that I've already got a bid for online. I've got a couple pieces of property that I've got bids online that are substantially higher than that minimum bid in the book. If I've got people interested in the room and I look down here and I know that I've already got somebody who wants to give me $900,000 for it and you're bidding $300, I might ask if you want to jump your bid. If I ask if you want to jump your bid, it's because I know that we're going to a higher number and we're just trying to get there a little bit faster. This is important. If you do not know this rule, you should know it. Some of you in this room may not be legally allowed to buy today. You can't buy. You can't be the bidder. You can't write the check to pay for the purchase today. You cannot be listed on the deed to the property in your name or any kind of a business name if you have any delinquent taxes in these counties. If you have any property that has your fingerprints on it in these 2 counties that last winter's tax bill is due on, you can't bid today. If you do anyway, your sale will be canceled, and there is a criminal penalty. We'll get to that in a minute. The legislature has put this in place because they're tired of people coming to the tax sale, buying property just to try to sell it, and if they can't sell it, they let it sit there and rot. They don't mow the grass, they don't pay the taxes, they don't fix it up, they don't take care of it. They've said no more people like that. So if you have any delinquent taxes, you are automatically not allowed to buy here today. We have several kinds of bidders, several ways people can bid. We have all you guys in this hot little room in Sturgis, Michigan today. I have 64 bids I've already taken in advance of the sale today online. They've given us a $1,000 hold on a credit card to guarantee their bid, just the same as you got your $1,000 certified check with you. We also have people bidding live online. In the middle of the room, there's a tripod with a camera on it and a microphone built in. You might be bidding against somebody from Spain today. We had somebody in the UP bidding from Spain the other day trying to buy back some family-owned property. Once in a while, we have some paper absentee bids. I don't think we have any of those today. We're not going to dwell on that. If we do have people bidding online, Carrie over here at this table over here is taking the online bids, and he'll be calling out on their behalf. Your bid today is a legally binding contract. If you bid on something, we expect you to pay for it. Had a guy the other day bid $103,000 for something, and then he decided he didn't want it. You don't want to be him. We do reserve the right to reject the bids of any person that appears to be acting for, in concert with, or being coached by any person that is either banned from the sale or not qualified. If we know you have delinquent taxes, we're not going to take your bid because we're trying to keep you out of trouble. Decisions of the auctioneer are final. Any bid not received at the time of the sale is not valid. This is especially important to the people bidding online. If you did not bid in advance and you decided you wanted to bid live, and a beer truck knocks down the power pole next to your house and you have no internet, that's not our problem. If your bid does not get through, it is not received, it is not entered. This also applies to everybody in the room. If you're here to bid today, use that yellow card, get it up in the air, make sure I see it. Don't wink at me, don't tug on your ear. I don't know if you're trying to bid or ask me out on a date later on. If you win today, you have to pay in full today. You have to pay in full within about 30 minutes after the time that we sell the last piece. If you did not come prepared to pay in full today, you should not be bidding. Anybody bidding online will get an email by the end of the day. It'll have a clickable little link on it. Click on that, takes you right to a payment page, and you'll find out how quick and easy it is to get rid of your money. The first $1,000 you give us today on your combined purchases has to be certified funds. It's a non-refundable deposit. It's something you can't put a stop payment on or change your mind on once you give it to us. It is a non-refundable deposit. Over and above $1,000, your payment can be made by personal or business checks, money orders, credit cards, or cashier's checks. If you give us a check and it bounces and you don't make it good, your first $1,000 is forfeited. It's non-refundable. You don't get the property. It goes into the county treasurer's Christmas party fund. We don't take cash anymore. If you brought a big bunch of it, you're going to have to go down to a local bank and come back with a check or money orders or cashier's checks or something of that nature, because we do not take cash anymore. We've had people lose large amounts of money at the sales. We've had people give us money that wasn't real. What are you going to pay if you win today? Here's how the math works. There's going to be a final bid price we arrive at here in the room. There are three things added to that. The buyer premium is 10%. That covers the cost of the sale. It costs $30 to record your deed in the state of Michigan. We're going to collect that from you today. By the time you see your deed in about 6 weeks, it's going to be recorded with the Register of Deeds. It will be made official that you own the property. At the end of every property description, you'll see a number, summer tax due. We're collecting that today as well. We're going to collect the summer tax bill. We're going to forward it to the city, village, or township where the property is located. When you leave here today, all the taxes on that property will be paid current. So that's what you're going to pay today. The final bid price, 10%, $30, and the summer tax bill. If you're using a credit card for part of your purchase today, they charge us 2.75% for the amount that you put on the credit card. We're just going to feed that right through to you. You're going to be basically covering that fee. That will be in addition if you're using a credit card. Visa, Discover, and MasterCard are the only three that we take. We do not take American Express. If you need to leave the building today, to go to the bank, to make a phone call, to do something, let the clerks know what your bidder number is and how long it's going to take for you to come back. If you haven't already done so on the website, Many of you have taken the opportunity to list on the website the names you want listed on the deed to the property you buy today. If you didn't do it online, there's a form in your book that you need to fill out before you get in line. Here are a couple of points for this form. First of all, please use legal names. Don't use nicknames. Full first name, middle initial, last name. Fill that out very much like it's listed on your driver's license. Point number 2, if you're putting somebody else's name on this form and they're not here, you better make contact with them and make sure they don't have any delinquent taxes. If you put somebody's name on this form and they have delinquent taxes, your sale could be canceled. I do want to draw your attention to the fact that that prohibition on having delinquent taxes includes any property in these counties that you have anything to do with. If you are a deed holder and have sold a third-party property on a land contract, even if it's their obligation to make those payments, if your name is on the deed to that property and the taxes are delinquent, the law doesn't care who's supposed to pay the taxes. The law only cares that they're delinquent. You can't bid if somebody else's taxes are delinquent and you hold the deed to that property. Please think this all the way through. Before you list somebody's name on that deed information form, I would call them and say, are you good on your property taxes? We don't want your sale to be canceled or for anybody to get in trouble. Fill that form out before you get in line. It keeps things going a whole lot smoother out there. If you are buying property today with somebody else, a friend, a relative, a business partner, you're going to be more than one owner listed on the deed. You need to choose what is called a tenancy, the type of tenancy, the type of ownership of that property. Essentially, the question is, if there are 2 or more owners and they're not married to each other, what happens when one of them dies? Does their ownership of that property flow through to their heirs, or does it go to the other remaining owners? You need to choose one of those. Those options are listed in your sale book right near that deed information page. Take a look at them. If you're putting more than one name on the deed today, they're going to ask you the form of tenancy that you'd like to have listed. When you leave today, you are not going to be leaving here today with the deed. It hasn't been created yet. Before you get it, it's going to be recorded with the Registered Deeds Office and mailed to you. It's probably going to be about 6 weeks. You're going to be leaving here today with a receipt. It's our contract, our agreement that you're purchasing this property today. Before you sign that receipt at the bottom, they're going to ask you to initial it in several places. When you initial it, here is what you're agreeing to. First of all, we're going to ask you to review the information on the receipt and make sure that it's correct. Make sure your name is spelled correctly, that it's your full legal name that's going on the deed. Double check the address and the list of properties you bought today. The 4-digit number you see in the left-hand column of your sale book. Make sure it's the right 4-digit number. Make sure the amounts are correct. Everything on that receipt is created with the same data that we use to create the deeds. If your name is spelled wrong on that receipt, it's going to be wrong on the deed. Let's do it right the first time. You're also going to be agreeing to the rules and regulations, the terms of the sale, the things that are listed here, the things that we're discussing right now. You're agreeing that you're buying the property today as is, that there are no refunds, there are no representations. You're buying the legal description of land in the book. Everything is sold as is, where is. This is an important one here. We're selling some vacant land and some unoccupied buildings today. If you buy one of those, please keep this in mind. You are not the owner of what you're buying today until you have the deed. That's going to be about 6 weeks. Between today and the time the deed shows up in your mailbox, you are the buyer. You are not yet the owner. You have a receipt from today's sale. You do not have the deed. The law is very specific about this. Until you have the deed, this sale can be canceled. We sell in about 70 counties in the state of Michigan. We've been doing this for years. We sell thousands of pieces of property every year. Most years, we don't have to cancel a single sale. Once in a great while, right after we sell something, we find out that a piece of property was protected by a court and we didn't have the authority to sell it, and nobody told us before the sale, we found out afterward. If that happens, what you will be refunded is what you paid today and not a penny more. You are the buyer today, you're the owner when you get the deed, which is in about 6 weeks. We should tell you that you do not have possession of the property until you have the deed. We should tell you not to go inside. We should tell you not to do anything there at all. And we know, because we've been doing this a long time, that you're gonna be in there by 3 o'clock today anyway. So, this is part of your deal today. We're giving you possession today. You're not the owner today. You're still just the buyer. We're giving you possession for purposes of security, inspection, and maintenance only. We are not authorizing you to make any change or modification to that property at all. If you want to put new locks on it, go ahead. If you want to board up broken windows, do that too. If you want to post it against trespassing or clean up some nuisances or get it insured, go ahead. Every penny you spend there after you leave here is at your own risk. If you ignore what I'm telling you and run out there this weekend and fix the whole place up and put a brand new roof on it, and next week we get a call from a bankruptcy court in New Mexico that says this guy was protected, you can't sell that property, you bought somebody else a new roof. What you get back is only what you paid today. Please keep that in mind. We talked about this earlier, delinquent taxes. This is the other thing that you're agreeing to is the very final part of your checkout process. The clerks outside are notary publics. They're going to ask you to make what is called a sworn statement. This is required by the law. You're going to hold up your little right hand and say, I have no delinquent taxes. If you happen to forget about 20 pieces of property you own with delinquent taxes, you've just violated the law. The technical term for the law you broke is called perjury. You just misrepresented a material fact under oath in front of a notary public. If you commit perjury in the state of Michigan, it's a felony. Don't do it. That's my advice to you. If you're here today and you've got delinquent taxes, you should just hit the door now. It's a bad idea for you to tinker with this. We're going to check every sale that we make today. We're going to look at whose names are on those checks, whose names are on the deeds, and whose names are on the bidder cards. And if any of those names have delinquent taxes, your file gets sent upstairs to the prosecuting attorney's office. We don't want to do that. You don't want us to either. So just don't bid. You've got 45 days after today's sale to send this form in. Everybody's got a copy of it in your book. You're going to send this in to the city, village, or township where the property that you bought today is located. You're basically advising the assessor that it's time to reassess the tax value of that property. You're going to tell them what piece of property you bought. You bought it from the county treasurer of Branch or St. Joe County. You're going to give them the parcel identification number that's listed right in the sale book, right before the legal description of the land. You're going to give them your name and address so they know where to send the tax bills from now on. You're going to sign it at the bottom, fill out that information, send it in within 45 days. You are not going to check any of those boxes on the left-hand side there. None of them apply, even if you might think that they do. You've got 45 days to send it in. They can assess you a fine of $200 if you don't. Title insurance. Do you need title insurance to buy property in Michigan? The answer is no. Some title insurance agents will issue title insurance on tax foreclosed properties with very little effort. Other ones will just tell you that they're not going to write on them at all. And then you've got a wide range of responses in between. They might tell you that you need a quiet title action and an attorney. They might tell you you have to go get deeds from all the former owners of the land. You don't have to do those things. If you can't find title insurance from a local agency, we've got a few names and numbers of places you can get it. First American Title in Detroit has an office that specializes in just this kind of property. There's a company in California called Tax-sale.info. They will insure the insurance company, saying that this foreclosure is good. Vets Title in Grand Rapids, Devon Title in Kalamazoo. The SNP Title Agency works statewide, snptitle.com. You can call those 5 people. They've all written lots of title insurance on properties just like this. This is important information. I bet most of you, how many of you have never been to one of these sales before? You're a little nervous about what's going on here. You're buying something and you're gonna say, what happens if that last guy that owned that piece shows up in my driveway? That date right there is the only thing you need to keep in your mind. If you hear from anybody that says they have a lien against the property, a claim against the property, that they bought it from somebody at the end of February and gave them $5,000 for it, and here's my deed right there. Anybody that you hear from, if whatever they're talking about was before that date, they can get off your lawn. That is the effective date that the county treasurer became the owner of this property. Everything that existed before that date is gone, and the circuit court says so. There's an order on file. That's also the effective date of your purchase. You're buying it at the end of August, but you're assuming responsibility for anything after that date. Anything that we are aware of right now is already included in that minimum bid. You're paying for it today when you check out. There are a few things that might fall through that crack. If it's in a property owner or homeowners association, if it's a condominium unit, they have their own fees. If you hear from somebody trying to ask you to pay an association fee, and they say that the last owner didn't pay him for several years, and they want you to pay his bill, that's not your obligation. Everything begins and ends on April the 3rd. Any old association liens, condominium fees, anything of that nature died on that date. That's the date on their tombstone right there. So if you hear from somebody, if it's from before that date, it's not your bill. That includes municipal water and sewer. We're selling a bunch of stuff today that's on city water and city sewer. If you're gonna buy one of those today, you're gonna wanna write those four digits at the top of that screen down. 7258, that's a Michigan Attorney General opinion number. You can look this up. Here's what you've been made very well run into. You call down to the water department to get it turned on because you want to start cleaning and checking out the plumbing. And they tell you there's an old water bill on that property. That guy still owes the city $900 for water, and if you don't pay it, we won't turn it on. The Attorney General says they can't do that. Their lien, like every other lien, ended on that date right there. If they try to require you to turn the water on, Michigan Attorney General opinion 7258 says, number one, that's not your bill. That bill belongs to the person that used the water. They can go chase them and take them to small claims court. It is no longer a lien on that property. That lien died on April the 3rd, like everything else. It also says they cannot refuse to turn the water on because that old bill is there. It's got nothing to do with you. The Attorney General says so. So you've got the circuit court and the Attorney General on your side. And that ain't too bad to have in your back pocket on these. Possession, we already talked about it. We're giving you possession today if the property is vacant land, if it's an unoccupied building. Security, inspection, and maintenance only. What do you do if there's somebody already there? We have some property today that last time we looked, there were still people there. We may not know who they are. If you do, we get situations where people come to the sale to try to help a friend or a relative buy a piece of property back. If that's the case, good for you. If not, if you're buying something today and it's got somebody in it and you don't know who it is, there are a few things to keep in mind. First of all, there's no such thing in Michigan as a squatter. It's not a thing here. They're an occupant. If they bought the property, if you bought the property and they were already there, you have just a couple of options. You can evict them through district court. You can negotiate something with them. You can sometimes do something called cash for keys. You give them a few bucks. You inspect the house before you give them the money after they've moved out. Make sure that they didn't take the water heater. And then you do it that way. But if you don't know who's in that house, my advice to you is be careful. Most of the times, it can be a renter. It can be a friend or relative of the former owner. It may be the former owner themselves. They know this property is being sold today because you guys have been around for the last 3 weeks peeking in the windows. If it's occupied, my advice to you is do not just go marching up to the door and start barking at people. You could run into somebody who does not think the government has the right to tax their property. You could run into somebody that's angry, that's well armed, that's a little off the rails. Here's my advice to you. If you buy something today and it's got somebody in it, go talk to the neighbors. Every neighborhood has somebody in it that knows everybody else's business. There's gonna be somebody within 300 feet of there that knows who drives what car, where they work, probably what their cell phone number is, and which one sleeps with who. So, go talk to the neighbor. Find out who's there, find out if they're approachable or if they're a little unbalanced. If they are, maybe they can give you the name and number of an intermediary or some other way to contact them. Telephone is a very good first contact. If you can come up with a number for an occupant, rather than just walking up to the door and banging on it. What you're buying today, we are selling you a piece of land that's listed in the book that you've got in your hands. What you're buying is that piece of land and whatever is physically attached to it. You're buying buildings, septic tanks, driveways, furnaces, water heaters. You are not buying anything that's ever had wheels under it, anything that's ever had a title to it. You are not buying automobiles, RVs, motorcycles, appliances, furniture, inventory, paperwork, anything that's in or on the property that can be removed without the use of tools, anything that can be rolled or carried away. We're not selling to you today because we don't own it. We can't even give it to you. If you find property on the land that you buy today that is personal property, it belongs to the last occupant or the last owner of the property. It does not belong to us. It does not belong to you. Make an effort to reach out to whoever was there last. Again, if you don't know who that is, go talk to the neighbor. They'll know who left the brand new Harley Davidson in the garage. And call them up and say, hey, can I keep that or do you want to come and get it? Make that effort. We have had situations where people have come back afterward and said, I left a bunch of stuff there and they gave it away, they sold it. I want the value of it. They took them to court and they collected. You don't want that to be you. Make that effort. An extension, there is no rule about how much time you have to give somebody. You just need to make a reasonable effort to give them that opportunity. It's all going to be situational. We do not warrant the title to mobile, modular, and manufactured homes. This comes down again to legality. If there is a brand new modular home sitting on a piece of property that you buy today, even if it's on a concrete block foundation, if there's an owner or a lien holder against that unit and it's got a separate title and they had no notice that it was being sold for taxes, there's not a judge on the planet that won't let them take it. Keep that in mind. Mobile, modular, manufactured homes, generally speaking, are going to be abandoned with the land. If somebody shows up and says they're going to take one, make them prove to you they have the right to do so. Make them show you a court order. They need to have separate title. They need to have a failure of notice. We're almost ready to get going. When we sell today, it's just like riding that teeter-totter you see on the screen. I'm going to open the bidding at the minimum bid that you see listed in the book, or a higher number if I already have that bid online. Once the bidding is open, I'm going to find two bidders in the room, and we're going to go back and forth just like riding that teeter-totter right there. When somebody slows down or gets off the teeter-totter entirely, I'll find somebody else. When I'm down to one bidder in the room, then we're going to go over online and see if anybody online wants to keep on going. We're going to have a few pieces at the beginning that we'll handle a different way because I have a lot of interest in them. And you'll kind of see how that works. But generally speaking, that's how it's done. If you're brand new at this, and I know that a lot of you are, usually at least half of the people in this room have never been to one of these sales before. Here's one tip I'll give you right up front. When you're done today, you got what you came for, and you're ready to leave, don't leave that card on your chair. The only thing more fun than bidding is using somebody else's card. If you have a cell phone, everybody's got a cell phone now, even babies and people that can't hear even have cell phones now. If you've got a cell phone with you today, please put it on silent or vibrate. We need to be able to hear what we're doing here today. If you have a child with you that's loud, if grandma doesn't hear well and you have to shout at her. Ladies, how many of you brought your husband today just to let him hold the card? And you're going to give him permission as he puts it up and down. When he exceeds the authority that you've given him, and you need to correct him, please take it out in the hall. We need to be able to hear it here. Gentlemen, we're not responsible for injuries. If you make a mistake, you bid on the wrong piece of property, you bid the wrong price, let me know right then. I can still sell that property when the other bidder is inside these doors. Once they're gone, if you bid on something, we expect you to pay for it. Please be considerate of us, we'll be considerate of you. That's pretty much how it works. And when we say it's sold, it is. We get people to come to sales, especially the old guys. The old guys learned a tip from their grandpa that if they wait till I say it's sold and then put their card up, they're gonna save some money. It works, because you won't be buying anything today. I am not an auctioneer. I'm not selling any cattle in here today. I do not do the yabba dabba doo. I'm gonna be pointing at the high bidder. I'm gonna be speaking English. I'm gonna say going once, going twice, and sold. If you wanna bid on something today, you should have your card in the air as soon as I say going once. If I have not recognized you when I say going twice, you better make some noise and shout at me and do whatever you need to do to get my attention. It's your job to make sure that I see your bid. Don't be doing this or this, because there's a lot of people in here and I can miss that. Get the card up. When we say it's sold, it is. Any other questions before we get going? Okay, we've got a few pieces of property here. I'll give you the numbers. I think we've got 3 or 4 we're going to sell first, and then half of you are going to get right on out of here. Number 1110, which is on Melody Shores, waterfront. That's in Branch County. It's on the 3rd page. 1110. We're going to sell that one real fast. Number 1112, right below it, on Railroad Street in Bronson. Those 2 pieces in Branch County we're going to sell first, and then we're going to go to St. Joe, number 6203 on Millard Road. I've got almost 20 bids coming in for that piece. Number 6212 on Pinhook. I've got over 25 bidders that want to give me money for that one. And number 6215 on Thunderbird. Those are my hot pieces. That's the hot 5. We're going to sell those pieces first. And everybody that thought they were going to come in and buy them today for the minimum bid, I'm sorry.
You don't look it.
Once we've sold those 5, we're going to go back to the beginning of the book and we're going to sell them in the order that they're listed. We'll skip the pieces nobody wants, which is not very many today. Let's go to number 1110. Number 1110, waterfront on a 1/4 acre, Melody Shores Drive. I've got 5 bids online already. I've got at least 10 bidders in the room. If you would give me that $9,300 for that piece, put your card up in the air. We're gonna do something here. I know. See, there they are. That many people right there will give me $9,300. The online bidders are already at $50,250. I told you this was gonna be fast. Anybody in the room want to give me $50,500? Okay, I've still got 3. If you'll give me $50,500 for that piece, put your card up in the air and just keep it up there. I'm going to start rattling off numbers. When you hear a number you don't like, you take your card down. We're going to get there in record time. 55,000, 60,000, 65,000. I'm going to start with you at 65,000. Who wants to? And I've got more than that bid online. I've got 65,000 right there. Who wants to give me 65.25 in the room? Anybody, anywhere? Anybody in the room at 65.25? I've got you on at 65,000, 65.25, 65.5, 65,750, 66,000, 66.25, 66.5, 66,750, 67,000, 67.25. My advanced bid ended at 67,000. I know that I've got it right here in front of me. If I get another bid online, it's somebody on that camera. I've got you at 67,000. Anybody in the room at 67,250, 67,250, 67,5, 67,750, 68, 68.5, 69 and a half, 70 and a half, 71, 71 and a half, 72. It's only money, 72 and a half, 73, 73, 72, 72, 750, 73, 73 and a quarter, 73 and a half, 73, 750. He put his card down and crossed his arms. What do you suppose that means? I've got you on at 73.5. Do I have a bidder online at 73, 750?
Yep.
I do. Now 74 and a quarter. 74 and a quarter. I've got 74,000 in the room. Going once.
Yep.
74 and a quarter. I know that our internet here is a little slow today. You want to give me 75? 75 and a quarter. He's jumping his bid up to the next 1,000. 75 and a quarter.
Yep.
76. Now 76 and a quarter.
Yep.
What about 77 and a quarter? 77 in the room. Going once. Going twice.
Yep.
77 and a quarter. What about 78? 78 and a quarter.
Yep.
79 and a quarter.
Yep.
$80,000. Now 80 and a quarter. 80 in the room. Going once.
Yep.
80 and a quarter. 81. You know you want it. I don't get to say that to him. 81, 80 and a half, 80,750. 80 and a half going once. 80 and a half going twice. You bought it $80,500, number 1052. I gotta ask you because you got that blue bid card. You don't have any delinquent taxes in these counties, correct? No delinquent taxes. My backup bidder on that one is online. We do collect the backup bidder information, and this is how this works. He just bid $80,500. Let's say that on the way home, he gets a call from his wife, wondering where the vacation money is. Next thing we know, he's in Mexico and doesn't complete the deal because he doesn't want to go home, ever. We would call the backup bidder, who in this instance is online, offer them the property for one bid increment below the final sale price. That's $80,250. It's not negotiable. It's yes or no. So that's how the backup bidder works. Now we're going to go down to number 1112. This is on Railroad Street in Bronson. It's about a quarter of an acre of land. The last time that we knew it was occupied, do we know if it still is? We're not sure. They're telling me that it's not. I'm hearing that in the room. Remember what we said, if you get there and that travel trailer is still there, it ain't yours. Neither is that picnic table. Not part of the deal. $3,300 is what we've got listed in that sale book right there, but they're not going to let you have it for that. I've got 6 bids online already, 8 bidders here in the room. I'm at $15,250. Let's try that card game again. If you'll give me $16,000 for that property, put your card in the air and just keep it up there till I say a number you don't like. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, $30,000, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. I'm going to start with the gentleman right there at 38,000. Aren't you glad we're not doing that $250 at a time? I've got 38,000 with you. Who wants to give me 38,250 in the room? Anybody in the room at 38,250? I've got 38,250 behind you. 38,500. Going to give you 39. 39,500. How about 40? 40 and a half. Now 41 and a half. 42 and a half. 43 and a quarter. I've got 43 in the very back of the room. Anybody here at 43,250? Anybody anywhere? 43,000 going once, twice. 43,106. My backup bidder, right there in the middle of the room, what's your number? Backup bidder is 136. You can all hit him up for a loan now, he's got lots of money left. Now, down to St. Joe County, number 6203, Millard Street. Needs a little bit updating. Not too bad. It's got potential. It says $1,800 on the website, but I'm already at $12,750 online. How many people I got in the room that give me $13,000 for that? A bunch or just a couple? Let's do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to start with you at 13. How about 13.5? 14.5. 15.5. 15.5. 16.5. 17.5. 18.5. 19.5. $20,000. 20.5. 21.5. 21,750. I've got 21.5 right there. Anybody in the room at 21,750? 21.5, going once, twice. 21.5, 143. My backup bidder is 126. You can't leave yet, you have money left. I can smell it. It is, by the way, rule number 42 in the rules and regulations that you cannot leave here today without spending money. Now, I know you're trying, you just can't seem to get through.
We were instructed not to bring cash.
Oh, good point. We'll take your credit card to go to the mall, we don't care.
You don't accept American Express.
I'm sure you guys, I'll shake something out of you, I don't care. Number 6212, this is on Pinhook Road. I've got 9 bids online on this one already. I've got 17 people in this room that said they came here today to buy that. They said they'd give me $4,200 for it, but the opening bid is higher than that. I've got 28,250 online. I want to draw your attention to the fact right there in that description of that land, it says manufactured home. Remember what I said? It's unlikely that anybody's going to show up and try to palm that away. But if they do, make them prove to you that they have the legal right to do it. If they also own that, we have no way to check on the title to anything like that. There's no way to look it up. But anyway, that being said, I'm at 28,250 already online. How many people in this room would give me $29,000 for it? Put your card up and there they are. 29, 30,000, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, $40,000, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, $50,000, 51, 52. I'm going to start with you at 52. Who wants to give me 52.25? Anybody here for that one at 52.25? 52.25, 52.5. You want to give me 53? Come on, money bags. 52,750. I got 52.5 right there. Going once, twice. 52.5, 244. Show me that bidder number one more time. 244. That's what I thought it was. My backup bidder is 343. That's a room clearing piece right there. We're gonna have lots of chairs here in a minute. Let us sell number 6215. Going back to the beginning of the book. 6215 is on Thunderbird Drive. This one, last we knew, was occupied. Is it still? We're not sure. 6215, cute little spot out there on the west side of St. Joe County, east side. Large porch overlooking the lake. I've got 28,250 already bid online. I've got 8 bidders online, about 5 or 6 here in the room. If you'll give me 30,000 for that piece, put your card up in the air right now. Anybody here want to give me 30,000 for it? A couple of you. I'm going to start with you at 30. Who wants to give me 30 and a quarter? 30 and a quarter, 30 and a quarter, 30 and a half. How about 31 and a half, 32 and a half, 33 and a half, 34, 34 and a quarter, 34 and a half, 34,750, 35. All done. 35 and a quarter, 35 and a half. 35 and a half, 35,750, 36,000. 36 and a quarter, 36 and a half. 36,750, now 37,000. Family conference going on. 37 and a quarter, 37 and a half. 37,750, now 38,000. Gonna give you 38 and a half. What about 39? Fewer discussions if we make it up a little bit. 39 and a half. $40,000. 40 and a half. 41. All done? I've got 40 and a half. What about 40,750? I got 40 and a half with you. Anybody in the room want to get 40? Gonna give you 41. 41 and a half. 42 and a half. 43 and a half. 44. 43,750. I bet you one at 43.5. Anybody in the room at 43? 43,750. 44. 44. 44 and a quarter. 44 and a half. 44,750. 45,000. He said he's done. 44,750 here. Anybody in the room at 45,000? 44,750 going once. 45 and a half. 46 and a half. 47 and a half. 48 and a half. 49. $50,000. Should I give you 51? 50 and a half. 51 and a half. 52 and a half. 53 and a half. 54 and a half. 55 and a half. 55 and a quarter. I've got 55,000 right down front. Anybody in the room at 55,250? 55,000 going once. 55 and a quarter, 55 and a half, 55,750. 56 and a quarter. 56,000 going once. Twice. 56,000, 10, 52. My backup bidder is number 109. I got to ask because you got the blue card, no delinquent taxes in these counties, correct? He affirmed. Okie dokie. Back to the beginning of the book. We'll give you a few seconds to move around if that's what you came to see. Well, there, now we get rid of all the tourists. We can get down to the business here with the real bidders. Let's go to number 1101. Oh, 1100. 1100 in Branch County on Factoryville Road out Athens Way. Just a little bit shy of 7 acres. The porch roof needs a little bit of work, but that doesn't really matter because it's got DirecTV. Hey, Pa, the roof is leaking again. Game's on. I got $6,400 already bid online. Who wants to give me $6,500 in the room? Look at all those pretty cards. Keep it up in the air if you give me 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, $20,000, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, $30,000, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. I'm gonna start with you back there at 35,000. Who wants to give me 35,250? This is just a quick way to get to the end. I got 35,000 going once.
Yep.
35 and a quarter, 35 and a half. How about 36 and a half, 37 and a half, 38 and a half, 39, 40,000. You wanna give me 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 45 and a half, 45 and a quarter, 45,000 right there. Anybody in the room at 45,250? 45,000 going once, twice, 45,343. My backup bidder is 1052. Number 1101, Chippewa Drive, vacant parcel. Ooh, it should be a vacant parcel. It's got one on it. Well, you know what? That's somewhere in between, isn't it? We have a name for these. Prepare yourself. We call them dog houses. You know why? Because they're really rough. Make him stop, please. 1101. Somebody in this room said they'd give me $750 for that, and I'd really like to, by golly, he's even willing to admit it. I've got it right there. Anybody want to give me $800? 750, look at that, there's 3 of them. I think they must have struck gold in Union City and didn't tell anybody. If you give me $1,000 bill for that piece, put your card in the air. 1,000. 11, 12, 13, 14, 1,500 now, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2,000, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 24 with you. Anybody in the room at $2,500? 24 going once, twice. It's your problem now. $2,400, 116. My backup bidder over here, what was his number? Backup bidder is 355. Branch County thanks you for buying that piece of property. We know what he's doing this weekend. Number 1102, right in the same neighborhood. Not immediately next door, but pretty close. This one is vacant. I've got $600 already bid online. Anybody in the room want to give me 700 there, 800, 9, 1,000, 11, 12, 13, 13 back there, now 1,400 and 15. Gonna give me 1,500 back there? 15, I've got 14 over here. 14 going once, twice. $1,400, 117. My backup bidder, what was that number in the back? 253. As soon as you win something, you can go check right out. You don't have to wait for us to be done. I entered in here and it magically sends it out there. Is anybody here today to bid on 1103? If not, we're gonna skip right on by it. Once in a while we get something that just isn't worth buying at any price. Anybody here for 1103? Let's skip it and go to 1104. 1104 on Arbogast Road. Factory, or Union City. If you got a friend in the glass business, boy, this is the place for you. I've already got a $1,900 bid on that one online. Anybody in the room want to give me 2,000, 2,000, 21, 22, 23, 24, 2,500? You want to give me 3,000? What about 3,500? 4,000, 4,500, 5,000, 5,500, 6,000, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. I've got 66 right there. Anybody in the room at 6,700? 66 going once. 67, 68, 69, $7,000. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, $8,000. You want to give me 8,500? What about 9,000? 9,500? 10,000. 10 and a half? 10 and a quarter? I've got 10,000 there. 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half, 10, 750, 11,000, 11 and a quarter, 11 and a half, 11, 750, and now 12,000. What about 12,500? 13,000, 13,500, 14,000, 14,500, 15,000, 15,500, 16,000, 16 and a quarter. You know you want that beautiful house. You're gonna do it all Joanna Gaines and sell it for $1 million. I've got 16,000 with you. Anybody in the room at 16,250? 16,000 going once, twice. 16,356. My backup bidder, what's their number? Backup bidder is 216. On the next page, Walnut Lane, Union City. This one also, last we knew, occupied. We think so still. Can't tell you too much about it. We don't get to see the insides on the occupied ones. 1105, I need $16,250. I've got it right there. Anybody in the room at 16,500? All over the place. If you'll give me $20,000, put your card up in the air and just keep it there. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30,000, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. I'm going to start with you at 35,000. Who wants to give me 35,250? Anybody in the room at 35,250? You again. 35,250. 35,500, 36 and a half, 37 and a half, 38 and a half, 39 and a half, 40,000, 40 and a half, 41 and a half, 42 and a half, 43 and a half, 44 and a half, 45 and a half, 46 and a half, 47 and a half, 48, $50,000, 51, 52, 51 and a half, 52 and a quarter, 52.5. I've got 52 and a quarter over here. Anybody in the room at 52.5? 52,250 going once, twice. 52,250, 1052. Backup bidder number is 136. Number 1106, Cannon Road, out Quincy Way. Several buildings here, including a single-wide mobile home. Remember what we told you about mobile modulation and all that stuff. Big Red Barn, a two-story home that needs some work, one that's covered completely in vegetation for your vegetarian friends, and a small RV out back that's not part of the deal. So there's all kinds, you could have the whole family move right on in. Bannon Road, Quincy Way, $6,400 is what I need for that one out there. About 2.5 acres of land, more or less. Who wants to give me 6,400? Somebody circled it. 64. Anybody in the room want to give me $6,500? 6,400 going once.
Yep.
65. Gonna give you 7,000. What about 7,500? 8,000. 76. I've got 75 right there. Anybody in the room at 76?
Yep.
76, 77, 78,
Yep.
79, $8,000.
Yep.
81, 82,
Yep.
83, 84, 84, $8,300. Don't 84 now. 8,500, 86,
Yep.
87, 88,
Yep.
89, 9,000.
Yep.
91, 92.
Yep.
Gonna give me 10,000. 10,000 in the room, now 10.25.
Yep.
How about 11? All done, 10.5. 10.5, 10,750.
Yep.
Now 11,000. Anybody in the room at 11? I've got 10,750 online. 10,750 going once, twice. Sold it online, 10,750. My backup bidder right down front here, what's your number? 120, no, 252. We'll be in Battle Creek tomorrow and Jackson on Thursday, and then I'm going fishing. I hope. $11.07. I've got 3 bids online and several bidders in the room for this one on Coleman Road. My minimum bid in the book, $4,000. It's about a half an acre, occupied last time that we knew. $7,600 is where it's at with online bidders already. Anybody there want to give me 77? How many want to give me 10,000? Put your card in here for 10,000. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, $20,000. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, $30,000. 31. I'm going to start with you at 31. Who wants to give me 31,250? Anybody here at 31,250? 31,250. 31,5. How about 32 and a half? 33 and a half, 34 and a half, 35 and a half, 35.25. I've got you one at 35. Who wants to give me 35.25? Anybody anywhere? What about new bidder 35.25, 35 and a half, 35,750, 35.5, 35,750, 36 and a half, 37, 36,750. I've got 36.5 with you. Anybody in the room at 36,750? 36.5 going once, twice. 36.5, 136. My backup bidder. One number 3, 36. That means you got money left to buy something else. If you can't pick something out, I'll even help you. No extra charge. We'll have a couple left, I'll hook you right up. Number 1108, Briggs Road, 2-story home, 4 buildings on a couple of acres of land. It needs a roof. Wide open, air conditioning, skylights. $10,750. How many people want to give me $10,750 for that one? I've got it back there. You want to give me 11? How about 12,000? 13, 14,000, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18 and a half, 19 and a half, 20 and a half, 21 and a half, 22 and a half, 23 and a half, 23,750, 23,750, 24 and a quarter, 24 and a half, 24 and a half. Gonna give me 25 and a half, 26, 25,750. I've got 25.5 right down front. Anybody at 25,750? He's back in. 26 and a quarter, 26 and a half, 27, 27 and a half, 28 and a half, 29, 29, 28,750. I've got 28.5 right here. Anybody at 28,750? 28.5 going once. 28,750. 29 and a half. 30 and a half. 31 and a half. 32, 31,750. 32 and a quarter. 32.5. 32,750. 32.5 over here. Anybody at 32,750? 32.5 going once.
Yep.
32,750 online. 33 and a quarter.
Yep.
Gonna give you 34. 33 and a half. We'll do it the slow, painful way. 33,750.
Yep.
34 now. Told you so. 34 and a quarter.
Yep.
34 and 5. 34,750.
Yep.
35,000. 35 and a quarter.
Yep.
35 and a half. 35,750. 35.5.
Yep.
35,750. 36,000. 36 and a quarter.
Yep.
36.5. I've got 36 and a quarter with an online bidder. Anybody in the room at 36.5? 36 and a quarter going once, twice. 36 and a quarter online. Back a bidder is 10.52. We already sold 11.10. Is anybody here to bid on the one on 11.11? 11.11, the one on Navajo Drive. Anybody here for that today? Let's skip that one. We already sold 11.12.
Sir,
Yes,
will you come back to those, or will
we are not coming back to them. If you want it, buy it now.
they go back to the second round?
They may. I can't guarantee anything. They could be picked up by the city or village. The state could take them. There's 1,000 little rabbit holes they can drop down. If you want it today, I can buy it today. Yes, no, maybe?
Right here.
11.11? Let's open it up. I've got it over here. 11.11, $1,700. I've got a bid right there. Anybody remember to give me 18? Anybody at 18? Oh, 17 online I've got. Now 18 to you. 18, 19,
Yep.
2,000, now 2,100. $2,000 in the room. If you've been looking for a place for your mother-in-law, this is your opportunity. I got $2,000 right there going once.
Yep.
21 online, now 22. He said he was just kidding to begin with. I got 21 online. Going once. Twice. Well, it's up there for more than that. Sold it online, $2,100. My backup bidder number. What's the backup bidder? 336. We already sold 11.12, 11.13. Douglas Street in Bronson. It says here that I've got somebody interested in that piece. Do I have a bidder here for 11.13? All right, let's open it up. Looks like I got a couple. Douglas Street, Bronson, last we knew occupied about a quarter acre of land. Look at all the goodies outside there, including blue tarps. Coat of paint, you could probably get $500,000 for that house. I need $3,700 for it, I've got it back there. You gonna give me 38, 38, 39, now 4,000. How about 4,500? 5,000, 5,500, 6, $5,600. I've got 55 back there. Who wants to give me 5,600? Anybody in the room? 55 going once, twice. 5,500, 243. Backup bidder, what's your number? 150. The last one in Branch County is number 1115. Perkins Street. It's got boards on the windows. Saves you money when it's time to do the new subfloor in the kitchen. It's on the good side of the tracks on Perkins Street. Coldwater, $5,400 is what I need for that one. Where's my bidder? 5,400. Right there, I've got one. Anybody want to give me 55? 50, 55. How about 6,000? 56, 57, 58, 59, 5,900. I've got 58 with you. Anybody in the room at 59? 59 behind you now, 6,000, 61, 62, 63, 63 in the back. I got 62 down here. 62 going once. 63. Now I get to look at the cards all over the room. It's like a confetti bomb just flew up. If you'll give me $6,500 for that piece of property, put your card up in the air and just keep it there. 7,000, 7,500, 8,000, 8,500. Don't look at him, look at me. I'm going to start with you at 8,500. You gonna give me 86? 85 back there with you. Anybody want to give me 8,600? 86, 86, 87, 88, 89, 9,000.